The first brawler coming into the update is Nori, and he is a legendary assassin that looks nothing like an assassin. Probably has something to do with the pacifier. I mean, there's not many ninja toddlers out there, but this guy is built different. Nori is the son of Kenji and Kaze, and as such has some really crazy abilities. Today I'm going to put him through the paces and then force him to 1v1 versus every brawler in Brawl Stars to find out if he is going to be even half as good as his parents. And if so, it's going to be scary. First off, let me explain what he can do. At max level, he has 7,600 hit points, so decently average. What's not average though is his movement speed, as it is very fast, but as you'll see throughout this video, his movement speed is what sets him apart and makes him special. For his main attack, he uses a fishing pole to slash in a broad arc, just like Kenji does. However, this main attack is not a static one. If you hold down the aim button, a long aiming line appears and it will grow the longer you keep it aimed. If you hold it down a little while, you can then use that to cast his fishing pole and grapple onto brawlers or walls, sort of like a buzz gadget. You do deal damage with this long shot, but it's not as strong as his main attack. However, if you keep holding it down until it has its maximum charge, you can use it to hook and pull yourself over walls. It's like a buzz gadget with every shot, does damage, but also can leap over walls. It's very cool. But what good's a fishing pole if you're not catching any fish? Well, luckily Nori is very good at that too. Every time you hit a brawler with your main attack, you catch a fish. Now these fish pile up and you can see how many of you have caught by the little fish indicator next to the bar. The maximum you can catch is 10. So why do these fish matter? Well, aside from giving Kenji some fish to serve up in his sushi, Nori will use these to increase the power of his super. With this super, Nori places it and then leaps into it, causing damage. But then he also reappears at the location of that super from underwater as well. The super deals 2,500 damage. However, for every fish that you've caught, when you use it, the super damage and the super size will increase. The super maxes out at 3,500 damage. The size can increase by 50% if you have 10 fish caught. So catching a lot of fish is very beneficial, and you can instantly get back more fish after using your super if you use his first star power called Big Haul. With this, whenever you hit an enemy, your super will instantly gain 3 fish when you come out of the water. This stacks as well, so if you hit 3 enemies, you'll come out of the water with 9 fish. Now this is very dangerous, as it only takes him 4 hits anyways to get his super. So he can move fast, grapple onto walls and brawlers, jump over them, and basically teleport with a fast charging super as well. But if that's not enough for you, well then you can use his second star power called his mother's son. With this star power, whenever Nori hits an enemy with his main attack, he will gain 20% speed for 1 second. So keep stacking those up and you can keep running fast. No one's getting away from you, but let's say that your enemy is getting away. Well, every good fisherman also needs a net, and Nori is no different. His second gadget is called Gonna Need a Bigger Net. And with this aimable gadget, you will hit an enemy and then root them in place for just over 1 second. This will be a great way to stop enemies from running away so that you can finish them off, or maybe you want to get away from them. But if you're feeling hungry, you can use his first gadget called Sushi Snack. When used, Nori will eat up to 3 fish and in return get 1,000 hit points per fish back. So basically, it's a 3,000 hit point heal on a 12-second cooldown. Very strong. So now that you know all about Nori, let's see how he does in base level interactions, because he does have some weaknesses that will become very apparent as we move through this. Let's get him eased into battle here against the throwers. I mean, he is, after all, a literal child, so we'll save the harder matches for later. The throwers never really stood a chance here, but you will notice that many of them come really close to beating him. Sprout's new skin looks dope, but a win? Nope. Juju takes him down to the wire before she loses, but much to my surprise, Barley actually ends in a dead tie to the frame. Not a good look for an assassin to start off with a tie against a thrower. However, that's just base level interactions. In a game, these throwers are straight up cooked. Gut them like some fish and throw them on the grill because they are done. Unless Nori just really messes up, you are going to wipe the floor with these throwers. There are 0 places for them to hide. He can jump over any wall he wants at will, and even if somehow you took away his main attack, he can still land on your head with his super and pop up and finish you off. The walls on the map, your one advantage as a thrower, is now a non-factor. He may not have the most burst DPS, but it is easily enough to take down these throwers or send them running for the hills, and it's not even close. But let's let Nori have some fun with that fishing pole against the marksman. In these interactions, I had Nori use his long pull from distance because this is how you're going to be getting pressured by him in a real game. B gets some shots off, but it is over fast. Because of his pull, Nani misses 2 orbs, and this gives him the win. Bonnie may have a lot of health, but the constant damage from Nori wins the day. Belle's shield isn't enough to save her from this toddler, and Mandy, she just gets flat out swarmed and beaten by a 4-year-old. Maisie, however, has no mercy on the little one. Angelo, he got off 1 shot, and Janet gave it her best, I suppose. Then even the legendary Pierce gets off 3 full shots, but can't get a win. So yeah, a 9-2 record. Kinda to be expected, and this is pretty much what you should expect in a game. Nori is not the typical burst damage assassin. His burst damage is actually on the low side. It's very consistent, like there are no lulls whatsoever, but the shots just don't come out very fast. But as a marksman, you're going to have to constantly be watching out for him because his fishing pole can cast a long way, and he will be on top of you, swinging away before you know it. It's once again a really bad matchup for the marksman. Unless you have some defensive gadgets handy or some help from your teammates, you're going to be harassed by him all match. He's going to be very hard to hit because of his extreme movement, and that movement will be the death of you. But maybe the support brawlers can keep you alive. Unless he takes them out as well, so let's see how they do. This is a matchup no support brawler really wants to see. Even if Nori doesn't have the most burst damage, most of the brawlers that he's facing just don't have enough in the tank to deal with an assassin like this. Barry stood no chance, but Max does a sneaky amount of damage and real fast. Fast is kind of her thing after all. Byron still can't win a match, no surprise there, and Ruff's tried, but he came up short. Gray proves that he deserves that legendary skin, and Doug is a hard one to take out, but it was pretty close. Jay Young got caught singing way out of key, and the only thing glowing about Glowy here is that gold skin. Even the quasi-assassin kit wasn't able to beat Nori this time. 8-4 against the support brawlers. It's respectable. Not amazing, but it's respectable. In a game, I think that you'll find that despite Nori not dealing a ton of damage, he's going to be very hard to land shots on. His base movement speed and the fishing pole are going to be launching him all over the map, which is going to be not a fun time for the support brawlers. Brawlers like Gray might have won his interaction, but his shots are on the harder side to hit on a normal target, so this quick brawler with insane mobility is going to be near impossible to land shots on. This is a tough one, and it's not totally hopeless for the support brawlers, just like 70% hopeless. That is, unless you're Pam or Doug. But Doug is kind of like a tank anyway. And speaking of tanks, we've put it off long enough. It's time for Nori to face the music and square off versus the tanks. Normally, assassins can put up a decent fight against the tanks, and some of them can even take them out. But yeah, this is not one of those situations. Not even close. The problem here once again goes back to Nori's shots. You'll notice that he doesn't even have a reload bar at all. It's just a bar of him charging up his shot. That means that his shots are basically on a base cooldown of time between shots, and unfortunately for him, that time is rather long. What this equates to is a very good, consistent DPS that comes out on top in prolonged fights, but against brawlers putting out real burst damage, it's just too much for him. Like Ollie here. He doesn't do a lot of burst, and Nori takes the win. And Damien, outside of his super, doesn't do a lot either, and it goes down to the very wire. And while Meg doesn't have a lot of burst, that's a lot of hit points to get through. Draco, with that extra damage star power, he wins hands down. So yeah, 2-13. I was honestly hoping for better from Nori, but I'm not surprised or really even disappointed. Now you might have noticed that I did not include Bolt here, and that's because I can't do the interactions by myself. Just watch. All right, so I've got to get rolling, and then, oh, no, that's not enough. Okay, I get it. I got to keep that one active. All right, I'm coming in, and then, oh, how are you supposed to keep this rolling? And I don't have 3 arms. I can't do this. In a game, this is going to be tough because Nori has to be close to deal his damage. And when he's up close to these tanks, it's a really bad matchup. I mean, yes, he is vastly more mobile than them, and he can for sure find spots to use his fishing pole to leap in and confirm a kill, but going at a tank with full health is just something you are absolutely not going to want to do. You don't have the health to deal with that burst damage, and you won't have any hit points left after they get through with you. So pick and choose your spots wisely here. If they're below like half health and they've used their shots, then sure, have a field day. But if not, you might just want to find another target to pick on. I mean, maybe the controllers would be a better option. After that bloodbath against the tanks, I'm expecting Nori to bounce back here against the controllers. These brawlers, for the most part, aren't the ones that can dish out damage like the tanks can, so he should have a much easier time with them. That being said, there are all sorts of different brawlers for him to contend with here. From spawners, area damage, unique abilities, and more, he has his tiny little baby hands full. Gene surprisingly does pretty well, and Mr. P just straight up beats him. Squeak does take him out, but Nori finished the job just in time. Lou would have frozen him solid, but just kills him instead. Otis? I mean, it's Otis. And Willow just can't build up the damage, but Chuck gets a win and a really close one. Charlie has consistent damage too, but Nori wins. And Finks hitting 2 projectiles is just too much. Ziggy just ain't winning this one, and Sandy never really has the damage, but he was close. Against Amber, it ends in a dead draw down to the frame, and Sirius makes it interesting, but he gets hooked. That was a fishing joke? Just in case you didn't catch it. You know, no worries. I'll reel you in on the next one. Okay, I'm sorry, I had to do it. Anyway, 12 wins, 7 losses, and 1 draw. Again, it's respectable, but not amazing. This seems to be the theme so far for Nori. He can stand toe-to-toe with most of these brawlers, but it's not overwhelming. And I gotta say, I don't really hate that. But I'll get to my opinion here in a minute. In a game against the controllers, it's gonna depend heavily on which brawler because really these brawlers are so varied. But overall, I like the controller's chances. I don't think that Nori's going to be able to deal with spawnables very easily. He has to be up close to deal damage, and it's going to take him quite a few shots to get rid of things like, say, a Jesse turret. And then there's other brawlers like Griff, which he will just not want to get close to. But there are plenty of brawlers that he will terrify, like Ems. This is a very seriously bad matchup for her. She could knock him back, but one aim shot and he's right back in her lap, and not in a cute baby sort of way. This is a tough matchup, but it's manageable. But will Nori find the damage dealers manageable? Doubtful, but I mean, let's see how it goes. So far, Nori has been holding his ground, but this set of brawlers is where it's going to get tough, as the damage dealers are a really stiff matchup for any class of brawlers to take on, and it shows in these interactions. And this really comes down to Nori's 2 weaknesses, his moderate health and his lack of true burst damage. If Nori could throw out 3 shots as fast as other brawlers, he would do better. But since his shot works differently, he just can't put out 7,000 damage nearly as fast as the other brawlers can. However, as I'll explain in my recap of it all, he has some things to make up for that. He does, however, take care of Eve without issue. RT in his normal form isn't too much of a problem either, but Clancy at stage 2 is just too much for him. Mo puts a dent in his health, but he can't finish the job. And Lumi comes ever so close, but can't recall those last shots. He's able to take out Mina even through her healing and damage, and a win against Naja was never a question. Spike just doesn't have the health to survive 3 shots, and Surge is in the same camp and gets taken out. But I mean, good old Chester always picks up a win for the damage dealers. So 12-8 is honestly not bad, all things considered. He went toe-to-toe with them and walked away with a winning record. I mean, he's got to be happy with that. Was it the best showing ever? No, but it was good. However, in a game, it might get pretty dicey. You're going to have to really be careful when picking your spots with Nori. While you have the ability to get all over the map and pretty much attack any brawler you want thanks to your movement, you'd be wise to not choose to come after, say, a Shelly or a Chester, unless it's just to get that last shot in on them and get the kill. However, that is the luxury that you have with Nori. His movement around the map is going to be a terror to deal with, and that's what makes him an assassin. But how does he fare against the other assassins? That's the real test. My favorite part of these interactions is watching how the brawler does against their very own class. This always gives me the best idea of how that brawler is going to do, but this time it's a bit different, as Nori is not your traditional assassin in some ways. Almost every other assassin here has some serious burst damage, and if Nori can survive that initial onslaught, then he has a really good chance, as his consistent shot speed is very nice, if he lasts that long. Which against Miko, he does not. Melody has consistent damage too, but Nori wins. Now I thought Lily was going to hammer him, but it ends in a frame-perfect draw. However, Ali makes short work of him. Gigi clears him quickly as well, and Star Nova runs out of shots before his health does. Even Crow, after he got a hit point nerf, gets a win, and that's really all you need to know about his lack of burst damage. It really is his biggest weakness. When Nori faces off against his dad, it looks grim at the start, but he actually comes back and gets a win. But Mom, she ain't having any of that and puts Nori in his place with that one final win. That gives him a disappointing 5 wins, 12 losses, and a draw against the other assassins. And his overall record is 53 wins, 46 losses, and 3 draws. So what does that mean? Well, I think the biggest thing that we learned about this deep dive with Nori is that he is a different kind of assassin. He is not the classic get close and burst you down type of brawler. He doesn't have traditional burst damage. I like to think of him as a very mobile, opportunistic assassin. He is going to be the one moving all over the field and getting the kills that others just couldn't finish off, or terrorizing throwers and long-range brawlers at will. What he lacks in burst damage, he more than makes up for in mobility. This is probably the most mobile brawler that the game has ever had. I mean, sure, other brawlers like Miko can jump over walls at will, but Miko's reload speed is just horrific, where Nori's is actually very consistently good. On top of that, he can clear walls from a much longer distance, but he does have to fully charge that shot. Nori is going to be a very tough brawler to deal with. Not because he's going to just overpower you, but because he will be very hard to get rid of and in your lap on a moment's notice. Is he crazy overpowered like so many brawlers are at launch? No, I don't think so. But actually, I'm very happy for that. He is a fun brawler to play. He has some really nifty mechanics, and overall, he's just solid. He's not weak. He's not weak at all, and he's not massively OP. I just think he's a very solid brawler, and I think that that's just about right. 7 out of 10. Good stuff, Brawl Stars. Come back tomorrow, and we'll check out Wendy.
I think I'm gonna go stare at a wall for a while and rethink everything.